All right, next segment, we are going to be giving out some special recognition. These are very deserving members of the association. The first two awardees are no longer with us. So if you will, please join me in a moment of silence. Hey guys, shh. We lost two members last year, Mr. Robert Chang and Johnny Shi. So please join me in a 1 minute moment of silence for our good friends, Robert Chang and Johnny Shi. They passed away in May of last year. If you're still talking, you're kind of like a jerk. So we lost Robert Chang and Johnny Shi back to back within a month of last year. The first award is for the Lifetime Honorary Chairman Award. It's for Robert Chang. Robert Chang is one of the original pillars of the association. And I had the opportunity to meet with him at his office for about 30 minutes. And immediately he is wise, super wise, told me a lot of experiences. He worked at the biggest corporations, and his clients are the biggest Taiwanese companies in the US. So I was very fortunate to be able to have a chance to meet Robert in person and to learn from him. So tonight, to receive this special award, a Lifetime Honorary Chairman Award, is his wife, Sandra Chang. So please join me to welcome this award. Ms. Sandra Chang, please come up.
"各位贵宾、各位朋友，大家晚上好。首先，我要非常感谢北美华人会计师协会给我先生这么大的荣誉，给我逝去的先生这么大的荣誉，这是他职业生涯和奉献精神的高度认可。Robert 风趣幽默，乐于助人，无论是对朋友、客户或者是后辈。作为家人，我为他的努力，我为他的成功感到非常的自豪。我们这个协会不仅是一个专业的平台，也是一个温暖的大家庭。在这里，我们汇总了各行各业的人才，在历任会长以及各位会员的帮助下努力，我们的业务日渐增大。在这个特殊的时刻，我深感到这个大家庭的温暖与力量，期待未来我们共同携手前行，为协会会员及社区做更多的服务与创造更多辉煌的成果。最后，我想再次的谢谢大家，谢谢大家对 Robert 的认可，以及这美好的一刻。我相信他在天之灵拿到了这个，也会感到非常的欣慰。谢谢大家，谢谢，谢谢。
All right, our next awardee, Mr. Johnny Shi. Can we show a picture of Johnny? Unfortunately, again, like I said, he also passed away last year. I also had a fortune to meet Johnny in person, and we have mutual clients, and we served on the board together. You know, all of us in our cell phones, we have speed dial to our mom and dad, our spouses, our kids. Johnny had that too, but he had a speed dial to the IRS. Everybody at IRS knew Johnny. He was our liaison for the association. Whenever there was a new announcement on tax rules, for example, when there was a postponement on natural disaster tax filing, Johnny is the first to know. If we have a question, Johnny would call for us. So we really miss Johnny, and Johnny contributed so much to the association. So to receive this Lifetime Achievement Award is going to be Tim Chen, on a board member. He's our honorary supervisory board chair. Tim's going to receive on behalf of the family for Johnny Shi. Tim?
好，谢谢各位。我是陈英煌会计师啊。今天因为施启祥会计师的家人很忙，所以没有办法亲自来这边这个领奖，由我代替他来领奖啊。施启祥会计师呢，他是我们协会2011年到2012年的会长，同时也是2023年到2024年的监事长啊。今天呢，我们联会的筹备委员会特别为他颁发终身成就贡献奖啊。我认为这特别有意义哈。我它有两个片段，一个终身成就，另外一个贡献。如果大家把它拆分开来的话，你们应该知道，施启祥会计师在他的专业领域，我想在座的会计师同行或者其他的侨胞们的应该都知道，他在专业领域面他的成就呢是非常的杰出，同时他也能够利用他杰出的这个在专业领域上的成就呢，延伸到来支持我们协会主办，好像我们刚刚技术长所谈到的，我们每年给侨胞举办的这个侨民生活讲座里面的税务讲座，很多都是由施启祥会计师在后面支持支撑，所以他得到这个奖是实至名归啊。不要为我鼓掌，但是为施启祥会计师大大的鼓掌一下。我想大家都认识施启祥会计师啊。那么他太太他的家属就施太太呢，也特别写了一段他的感言，他要我在颁奖典礼上面跟大家念出来，但是因为我怕影响到大家这个吃饭的时间，我把它缩短一点把摘要这个截取出来他说 ，Johnny 他一生竭尽所能，致力于会计服务，深受同侪客户及社会大众所敬重爱戴，仅代表家人致最真挚的感情，也感谢国税局里面教你的挚友们。他特别这个 mention 他 appreciate the opportunity to work closely with the friends of IRS to serve the Chinese community。也特别感谢协会的挚友们，再三的到教你的地方去，给他送花致意，去看望他。他深切敏感无泪，不曾或忘。以上，谢谢。
All right, so I have some good news. The next awardees, they're all still here. They're with us tonight. So we are very honored to award our next recipient is Mr. Edward Lee. So Edward Lee, he is the current chairman of the SACPAA board and also past president. So my story about Edward is when I went to go visit him, I'm like, wow, this is a super nice CPA, very nice guy. You're going to meet Edward. And I was thinking, hey, 敲门看有没有握个手，有找一点生意, right? Get a referral from Edward. So I go in there, I go, hey, Edward, how's it going? And he gave me a lecture, 30 minutes about the vision of the association. Okay? So because of him, he has a lot of ideas for the association, makes the association better. And so we are very thankful, and we want to give him an award today. But Edward, I'm still waiting for a referral, okay, buddy? So next award recipient is Mr. Edward Lee. Please join me to welcome him.
各位贵宾、各位朋友，大家好。有一件很神奇的事情，就是我们协会已经进入第32年，而如今我还停留在30岁。我在讲这个不是说我的脸皮厚，不是，其实是在追求一个字，就一个很重要的字。左边3点水，右边是一个舌头，就是生活的活。我们每个人都在追求如何活得很好。会计师协会所有的会计师还有相关的专业的这个人士，都是在为自己活得更好，为我们的客户，为我们的同胞，为我们这个世界能够活得更好。去年我们很沉痛的失去了2位非常重要的协会的一个柱子，更加提醒我们都要好好的活得更好。接下来我要用1个小时的时间跟大家分享2025年的税法。大家有反对的吗？11月5号，我们看美国的选举结果怎么样，我们再来谈新税法。谢谢大家。
All right. Our next recipient is Mr. Kevin Ye. If you guys don't know who Kevin Ye is, kind of worried about your social life. Because Kevin Ye goes everywhere, networks everywhere. He's the president, board of director of like 30 associations. Needless to say, what Kevin brings to the association is he's the glue and the love of our association. He's always there, participating, joining us, and giving us advice. So we love Kevin Ye. And you know how in mainstream society there's 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, right? So everybody's got no Kevin Bacon through 6 degrees, okay? But with Kevin Ye, basically, I would say in LA community, it's probably 3 degrees of Kevin Ye. If you don't know within 3% of Kevin Ye, you got to go out and network more. So please join me to welcome our former president, Kevin Ye, for this special honor.
各位贵宾感谢大家今天来莅临我们这个2年1度的这个年会很高兴这个协会的这个奖也这个身负重任。那希望大家以后可以继续来参与我们很多协会的各项活动。那我们也是为未来明年度有这个亚太的财经论坛也是会做一个很大的活动。那再者呢，我们也在成立协会里面的智库，因为我们接下来有这个台美租税协定，有很多的细节，包含是我们这个台美人或者是这个所谓的双重课税的问题，还有这个双重国籍的认定税务的问题。我们希望有更多这个会计师能够一起来把这些议题呢，再提供更多给我们的侨民的一些服务。那希望大家以后呢，积极来参与我们的活动，也参与我们所有的座谈，对大家一定会有很多的收获。感谢各位，待会呢大家就继续吃好喝好，我们待会欣赏下面的节目，谢谢各位。
All right, next awardee would be Calvin Leung. Calvin is our past president of the association. Wait. And then my story of Calvin is I call him the professor, because he loves the most complicated tax laws. And he thrives in that. He's an expert. Whenever we need somebody that comes and speaks about something complicated, he can handle it. So again, join me. Round of applause for Calvin Leung.
Good evening, everybody. I love Texas. Okay, Texas is my life. But I am not going to talk about taxes tonight because you still need to enjoy your dinner. 大家好，今天晚上呢，我不要再说税上的东西啦，因为这样子你们今天晚上才可以有一个好觉睡。那 when we talk about taxes, it will be next year. After the election, we will know. 明年我们再说税吧。谢谢大家。
Our next awardee is Mr. Tim Chen. So my story for Tim is he is the uncle of our association because he has a lot of good advice for us, and he's our honorary supervisory chair. But he's also uncle because 他从小就看我长大 ，OK？ 所以我现在47岁了，200磅了，他看到我还是跟我讲说从小看你长大。So I will never be an adult in front of Uncle Tim Chen. So without further ado, please round of applause Tim Chen for his contributions to the association.
Hello， 谢谢各位哈，很耐心的听到现在。我相信你关心你桌子上你的那个 steak how it's cooked 比我讲什么东西更关心了，是不是？我现在呢，仅代表我们这个协会呢，向各位这个请求一件事情。我们会计师协会现在已经是32年了，那么我希望我们下一次呢，能够在40年的时候，甚至于50年的时候，我们仍然在这边能够见到各位，你们说好不好？好，谢谢各位，不打搅各位吃饭了，谢谢。
Okay. Next, we would like to recognize our very long-term legal counsel, Albert Chang, for his wealth of knowledge and unwavering commitment in serving our association. Let's welcome Attorney Albert Chang.
我只是希望利用这个机会，谢谢 Eric 和所有的会员，让我有机会这30年来。提供一小小的服务为这个协会，那同时这32年来交了很多这个一辈子的朋友 ，lifelong friends， 所以谢谢大家，谢谢。
Okay, here's my promise. Last but not least, we would like to recognize our legal counsel who has the most licenses and designations in our association. And for the record, he has 19 licenses, correct? We would like to thank you for your professional services and ongoing dedication to our association. Let's welcome Attorney Tony Yu.
Really quick. 谢谢协会给我们这个奖哈。其实我代表我家人感谢协会，我父亲尤中正哈，跟我妈妈林鼎凤在协会已经跟大家做朋友30年了，30 years friendship with everybody。所以我爸妈从保险起家，都谢谢前辈，谢谢会计师们照顾我爸爸妈妈。在我自己出来做事业的时候，也谢谢叔叔们、阿姨们照顾我的事业。好 ，So on behalf of my family, thank you so much to all the uncles, aunties, brothers, and sisters of the association. Appreciate it. Thank you. And I'm back. All right. So the next is our keynote speech, the IRS guy. Tim? Tim is going to be giving us a talk. Okay, join me to welcome Tim. Thank you, guys.
So I'm going to go ahead and take the microphone because I'm not much of a podium guy. Again, I want to thank you all for inviting me to your party tonight, the Sino-American Association. That was a really good dinner. It's been a while since I had lobster and steak, and it was delicious, so appreciate the host for providing that. What I want to talk about today is my background, and since I'm part of the Southwest Area SBSC exam, I want to talk a little about what we're going to be looking at in the next year. So I've been with the IRS for almost 30 years. I just started being the director of the Southwest area for the last 3 weeks. The Southwest area comprises of Southern California, Hawaii, New Mexico, and Arizona. I have 1,000 employees under me. I think I have about 600 revenue agents and about 100 tax compliance officers and a whole bunch of support staff for that. And we're the ones that, if you are representing clients in the Southern California, Hawaii, New Mexico, and Arizona area, you're probably going to run into one of my folks doing the audit of one of your clients. Before I was the Southwest Area Director, I was the Planning, Performance, and Analysis Director, which was a real fun position because I was the one responsible, well, my folks really did all the work, but I was one responsible for making sure that the plans were in place for what we were going to audit in fiscal year 24 and fiscal year 25. So I put together the plans for all of our operating divisions. We have the Specialty Tax Division, which comprises of excise tax, estate and gift, and employment tax, as well as Bank Secrecy Act. We have our campus examination, which comprises of campus examination, where you get those notices. I'm sure some of you have heard of those CP 2000 notices. Anyone? Anyone ever had a client call in a panic and said, hey, I got this notice? It was probably a CP 2000 notice. And we also had the automatic underreporter unit in campus examination. And then, of course, field examination. Field examination consists of the revenue agents who actually go out in the field and do the audits of your clients, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. And your tax compliance officers, if any one of you who actually been to the office, you probably had one of my tax compliance office. And sorry for the pause, I actually looked at my picture, and I have a face for radio, so really what I want to talk about today is a couple of things. First of all, when I get back to the area, what I told my crew was I want us to go back to doing examinations like we did pre-COVID, like we did pre-pandemic. I want my folks to go out and do the audits out in the field, meet with your clients, meet with you, get all the information. And the reason why is because I feel that we can get a lot more done if we're working together. So if the revenue agent and the tax compliance officer is working with you as tax professionals, I think you'll be able to get through the audits a lot quicker. I found that correspondence examinations by phone, tend to take a little bit longer than they should. So that is one thing that I'm working for my area and trying to get them to do. One of the other things I wanted to announce was we're not doing surprise visits anymore. I mean, in field examination, we stopped that practice about 15 years ago. But for our revenue officer program, I know they were still doing that for the last couple of years. But last year, the commissioner, SBSC commissioner, decided to end that practice. And so anytime, you know it's the IRS if you get a letter. And what will happen is you'll get a letter from an examiner, and then the examiner will likely call your client and say, hey, did you get this letter? And if you have a power of attorney on file, you'll get a copy of that letter as well. And most of the time we instruct our revenue agent to contact the power of attorney on file and make an arrangement with you to talk about the taxes. So And excuse me, I'm going to skip forward a little bit here. You know, one of the things I wanted to talk about, and I'm skipping through this presentation I have here. It was actually a 45-minute presentation, but I'm going to try to get through some of the most important stuff in 15 minutes, is the Inflation Reduction Act. The Inflation Reduction Act is a game changer for the IRS. It really is. It was $80 billion when it was first passed, and I believe now it's down to $60 billion. The Inflation Reduction Act allowed us to do a lot of things. One of the most important things for SBAC exam is it allowed us to start, looking into the more complex tax situations, your partnerships, your corporations, and some of the schemes that I'm going to be talking about in a few moments. The Inflation Reduction Act also allowed us to do hiring. Try to bring in as many people as possible. I know in the Southwest area, we brought in about 166 people, and unfortunately, we lost 133 to retirement and other jobs. So we only had a net gain of 33 revenue agents, but we're hoping this year, fiscal year 25, we have plans to hire a lot more. So if you know anybody that wants to work for the IRS, make sure you send them our way. The other thing, tax compliance officers, we're trying to build that program as well. That is one of my key things that I'm trying to do for fiscal year 25, is try to bring in as many tax compliance officers and revenue agents into the program as possible. One of the other things I'm trying to do, and all the directors across the nation are doing the same thing, is we're making sure our agents that are out in the field are well trained. We're spending a significant amount of money this year to make sure that our agents are trained, they understand the tax law issue, and they'll better prepared, when they come out and they start working with you regarding your client's situation. That's our goal this year. Our goal is to, because our work is getting more complicated, because the funding is allow us to identify the more complicated work, we want to make sure our revenue agents are ready. Okay, so the other thing you're going to see in examination is, I know you're all heard of taxpayer digital communication. I'm sure some of you are using secure messaging and some of the other portals that are out there. We're working on modernizing the way we actually do audits. I know we're working to modernize our software. We're working to modernize our systems. I can't really share what's going on, but for those of us who work for the IRS, it's pretty exciting. I mean, how many of you remember the blinking cursor on the screen? Believe it or not, some of our systems still have blinking cursors. And we're hoping to update it so we don't have to worry about blinking cursors anymore. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the areas that you're going to see more of. Since we're bringing in a lot of trainees into the IRS, you're going to see a lot more training type cases out there. You're going to see the trainees out there working cases, and I ask you all to be patient with them. I told my coaches that are coaching the trainees to try to have as minimal, preferably zero inventory, so they could be out there with their trainees while they're learning how to do the job. Because like I said, our goal is to try to get our people trained and ready to do these examinations as quick as possible. So some of the areas that we're looking at also, when I was doing the plan for fiscal year 25, these key areas, and you might see them in the Dirty Dozen. I'm sure some of you have heard of the Dirty Dozen. Look it up if you haven't. So some of these issues that I'm going to be talking about are already on our site. We're already well aware of, and we're going to continue to spend significant amount of resources trying to get these particular issues under control. The first one is, and I'm trying to avoid this microphone so I don't cause a issue here, but research credit. I'm sure a lot of you heard of the research credit, IRC, Internal Revenue Code, Section 41. We're going to continue to look at research credit. We're going to continue to make sure it's applied appropriately. In fact, not only do I have a geographic area, but one of the things I have in my area is I have the research groups for the entire country. So I have about 30 revenue agents that are responsible for auditing research credit cases all over the country. One of the things I want to point out is for those of you who want to understand research credit for your clients, we have something called Field Advice 202-14101F. And it clarifies exactly what the taxpayers must do, your clients must do, to make sure they're compliant with the law. Okay? The other thing we're continuing to do is syndicated conservation easements. Those are being mainly worked out of the South Atlantic area. I don't really have a big understanding of the syndicated conservation easement cases because others do. So I'm going to go ahead and skip that one, but I can assure you we're still continuing to look at that one. We're looking at micro-captive transactions. Those would be Code Section 831B. So if you have clients that have micro-captive transactions, like I said before, just make sure that you have an understanding of how micro-captive insurance companies should work and what your clients are supposed to be doing. And so I'm going to continue going down this list. Partnerships and S corporations. We just stood up our pass-through organization. It was just announced in the media on a couple of weeks ago. In fact, I went to the kickoff. So we're going to have a pass-through organization that's dedicated to S corporations and 1065s. And that's what they're going to be doing. We're hoping to build expertise in that area because, quite frankly, for as many years as I've been with the IRS, we have not done a great job auditing 1065s and 1120Ss because, you know, I don't know if any of you know the BBA rules. Anyone heard of BBA? I thought TEFRA was complicated. Then BBA came along, and BBA is even more complicated. So we're continuing to try to understand those rules and to continue to make sure that we're applying them appropriately. Okay, so that's for S corporations, 1120Ss. We've already started bringing staff over to them. We already have revenue agents dedicated to the pass-through organization. That organization's sitting under the Large Business and International Organization. And you're going to be, for those of you who have clients with 1120Ss and 1065s, you're going to start seeing more of those audits. Okay. I think digital assets was discussed. I was talking to somebody earlier and they said digital assets. We have a digital asset office right now, and we did hire a couple of executives from the outside to help us build our understanding of digital assets. Digital assets is one of those things where the more we learn about it, the better we are going to get an understanding how to apply the tax law to it. So that's our hope with the digital asset office, and those cases are going to continue to come out. So you might see some audits out there, albeit not that many, because the organization itself is trying to get a better understanding of how digital assets are applied in the tax world, what your clients are doing with the cryptocurrencies and how how they're spending the money and so forth and so on. I know there's a 1099 DA coming out, 1099-digital assets, and there should be some news press about that pretty soon. We're going to continue work in the National Research Project. No booze. Unfortunately, that's going to be around for a while. And one other thing I wanted to say, and I'm going to end with this. You know, one of the things one of the areas that we're going to continue to focus on is promoters and preparers of various tax schemes. And the reason why that is very important to us is because these promoters and these bad preparers tend to target the underserved community. And what will happen is they'll have 2,000, 3,000, 10,000. I've seen one with 20,000 clients. And these 20,000 taxpayers will have a tax return prepared for them that's just wrong. They'll take a credit they're not supposed to. They'll take a deduction that they're not supposed to. And one of our goals is to try to stop them, because instead of going after the folks who are, being, I want to use the word suckered, but I'm trying to use a better word, into these schemes, we're going after the people who are actually perpetrating these schemes. Part of the Southwest area that I inherited, I also have the Abusive Tax Investigations Organization, and I have about 80 agents throughout the entire country where all they do is they investigate promoters and preparers, and we work with the Department of Justice to try to help put some of these people out of business, give them injunctions, issue penalties, issue fines, because that is one thing that we're trying to stop. I mean, when you're talking about compliance, if you put out of business those folks who are preparing bad returns, you have a tremendous impact on compliance rather than focusing on their individual clients. So I just want to end that if you do see people out there like that, and believe me, I understand, because what happens is they're stealing your clients, because they come to you with a question and you say, well, that's not really legitimate, or you're not supposed to do that. And then they'll say, but the guy down the street told me that it was okay. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not okay. And you need to let them know that, but you also need to make sure that you contact us and let us know what's going on. Let us know what scheme there is, because we have a whole group of people that are investigating these schemes, trying to figure out what they are, and trying to figure out how we can put these folks out of business. So, at any rate, I really appreciate you all inviting me to this great event, and I would like you all to enjoy your dinner. So thank you very much.
Recognize the 2023 to 2024 CPA Board of Directors on the stage. So, can we have the PPT? If you see your name, and you guys should know who you guys are. So the 2023 to 2024 CPA Board of Directors, please come on board for your certificate of appreciation. 我们有请2023年、2024年的 CPA Board of Directors， 请大家上台好吗？就大家跳得太高兴，然后没有人要理我，我感觉到了，就是让我孤单孤独的站在台上。谢谢。下面我刚刚有听到掌声是给我的吗？我们可以请我们2023年，谢谢。我们可以请我们的2023年、2024年的 CPA Board of Director， 可以请大家上台吗？所以你就代表所有的人领奖就可以了，是不是 ？See, she supports me 。请到台中间，谢谢。Thank you so much. OK， 你看 Sherry 多好，就提醒我 remind 大家还可以买 raffle tickets. So make sure to go buy your raffle tickets at the corner table. Raise your hand and wave. We have the beautiful doors in the back. So 大家不要忘记哦，今天的 Grand Prize 是刘德华，我的男神，没有他代言的手机，所以。CPA Board of Director， 可以请大家上台吗？2023年、2024年。其实等一下2025年我们 newly elected Board of Director， 请大家也 stand by 好吗？我们等一下可以上台一起。 Let's welcome the 2023-2024 non-CPA Board of Directors on the stage, please. Thank you so much. 我这边支持者在这里，太开心了。
Okay. Next segment of our program, we want to thank our sponsors. Without the sponsors, we would be only eating bread and water. But with the sponsors, we got our steak and fish. So we want to thank our sponsors, okay? And we want to start with our diamond sponsor. So our first sponsor is Mr. Sean Yu from Morgan Stanley. Sean, can you please come up? Thank you so much for your contribution tonight. Sean, where you at? Thank you, Sean. Appreciate the steak and fish. Okay, next we have the platinum sponsors, and we're gonna do it all at once so we can raffle faster, okay? We have EZA CPA Courtney Zhang, East West Bank Mindy Zhang, Adesso Alan Koo, Snell and Wilmer Jason Yu, AIFG Lisa Lau. Thank you for your money. So please come up. Platinum sponsors, round of applause for platinum sponsors.
Okay, as you guys can see, I'm wearing multiple hats today. So next, we'll have our Gold Plus sponsors, Shanghai Cote and CTB Bank. Thank you to our Gold Plus sponsor. Yes, they're the ones that are feeding us tonight. Next, we'll have our Gold sponsor, IACVS Forest Lawn R&D Incentives Group. Please come on stage. Okay, we would also like to say special thanks to the IRS, ACG Funding, First General Bank, House of Imports, 皇家商业银行、黑带银行家, South Coast Plaza, and China Airlines.